Hello, everybody. It's James. I'm counting the days since my last podcast. I looked at it. It was on March 12th, 2020. I asked Alexa, I said, Alexa, you slave little bitch box, how many days has it been since March 12th? And she said to me, she says, James, in her little computer voice, it's been 100 days. It's 100 days now since I did this podcast. Why? I just lost the funny. I just did not feel like doing anything lighthearted or comical or anything like that. It just, nobody was receptive to it. The late night shows were gone, and nobody, the comedians weren't doing anything, and it was all kind of shocking. And yes, so 100 days later, I'm back. And how did I get back? I decided that I would start things off to get back and dip my toes into the water by interviewing a couple of my friends. I just grabbed a couple of friends on Skype and had a conversation about, because I hadn't talked to any of my friends. I haven't been out for coffee or anything like that. So I haven't really talked to them, and nobody phones people these days. So I didn't know how they were doing. I recorded a conversation. This podcast will be a conversation with a couple of my friends talking about how they pandemicked, how they quarantined, and what they think about it, and some deep thoughts about the race riot. So this is very different than any other Sneeze episodes or James Pod episodes from past days that you will hear, but I apologize for the quality of the audio. It's a bit iffy because of our Skype connection, and my friends, although they are film school people, are incapable of recording their own audio. There, I said it, John and Jack. Let's talk to my friends, John and Jack. Anyway, I want to welcome you guys to the show. I'm going to introduce you. John, you're what are you? You're a manager of a nonprofit organization.
Close enough.
And you're a friend, goes back to film school. Jack's also a friend who goes back to school, film school. Jack Hokwich, how are you, Jack? You're a VP of a small tech company, yes?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Did you work from home for a while, Jack?
I sure did.
Did you work from home, John?
I still am.
You still am, eh? Jack, how long did you work from home?
I do not recall the exact date that I stayed home, but it's been over a couple of months for sure.
And how was that?
It was awesing.
Yeah, you like that?
I wish I could. Oh yeah, I wish I could still do it.
Well, why can't you?
You know, I don't know. Yeah, I think I could if I pushed it, and we did talk about it.
What we've been doing is just regular check-ins on Zoom, and I didn't even know what Zoom was before this started.
We haven't talked. We went out for lunch before the COVID, and now with the COVID, we haven't seen each other in a long time. Do you miss people?
After a few weeks, when we were all feeling a little bit lonely, I have a group of guys I went to university with way back when, and they're spread out all over the place. One's in Saskatoon, one lives in La Ronge, and we started a Thursday night. We just sat around and had a beer, and so I'm actually seeing some people that I haven't spent very much time with at all. I'm seeing them a lot more, so that's kind of weird.
The only place I've been exposed to Trump mania is on Jack's Facebook wall. And it's really quite shocking. And it's not Jack that's doing it. It's his friends from a smaller town, from a conservative corner of the province. But I'm just, I've not been exposed to any of that except on TV. And then when you hear somebody, a real human being that's a friend of a friend, it's really unsettling, and I blocked them immediately. Anyway, guys, let's go back to the early on in the pandemic, because I was like spinning my wheels, trying to be funny, trying to keep it going, and it just eventually I just stalled, and it's just nothing was funny anymore. I couldn't go anywhere. The kids were home; their lives were disrupted. Jack, your kids. Last time we talked before the pandemic, you said at least one of your two children were going away for college, and that was hard. Are they back?
Yes. But Lauren was going to Lethbridge College, and she finished her semester, and now the fall semester is looks like it's going to be online only. So she's here for the summer working, and will probably go back in the fall. She has to find a new apartment and stuff. But she wants to move back, whether it makes sense for her to do it if it's only online. And my other daughter will be was supposed to go to school in the fall, but her class is now only online. So she looks like she's going to stay home for at least the first semester of that.
Well, you know what? I read in the Washington Post the other day, there was an article that was floating around on Twitter, and I clicked on it, and it said that fat people like me, morbidly fat people who have other underlying health issues like heart, high blood pressure, and I also have asthma sometimes. Basically, if you have any one of those things, you have a 1 in 5 chance of dying. That's what they said. 1 in 5 chance of dying, which I thought very high. It's like playing Russian roulette, literally. If you get it, you have a 1 in 5 chance of dying. That's what they said. I don't know if I believe it, but it was the Washington Post, which is why I point that out. One of us could go. Like one ill-timed visit to the grocery store, and we're drowning in our own fluids.
I've thought about it a little bit, but I never got to the point where I felt scared to go out. I felt more annoyed than scared. I don't know why I didn't feel scared.
I felt particularly scared for myself either, but certainly for more of the vulnerable parts of the population, and maybe that's just me feeling adolescently invincible. But I've been wearing masks, and
how's that? That's weird, isn't it?
Wearing glasses and a mask is just awful. It's like every time you breathe out, your glasses fog up, and every time you breathe in, they clear up, so you can only see where you're going every second step.
Just breathe in, Jack. Jack, have you worn a mask yet? I bet you haven't.
I have not. I have some. My wife actually bought a decent set for all of us.
Right.
And I don't think any of us have worn them.
The mask is just to protect other people anyway, so screw them, right?
No, well, no.
I can't go on record as saying that, but yeah. It's a sign of respect for our more vulnerable citizens. And I'm speaking as a vulnerable citizen, frankly. Okay, John, there's a lot of people. I went to have my hair cut the other day, and my hairstylist, my hair artiste, was wearing a mask, but he had the theory, the crackpot theory.
Did you wear one?
No. I meant to wear one, and I forgot because I was, there was some complication. He charged me $3 for a squirt of hand sanitizer extra on top of the bill. Yeah. They have expenses, don't you know, to clean down everything, and they can't wash everything. They can't have customers one after the other. They have to space them out by 15 minutes. And he has this theory that, everything's be fine. He's the herd immunity kind of guy. He's like, everybody should get it. I'm going to give it to everybody. And I'm thinking, this is a guy who's seen like 300 people in the last 2 weeks. Now he's seeing me and he thinks he should give it to me. So I explained to him how it's going to kill me. And
maybe it was in the hand sanitizer.
Maybe it was. Damn bastard. I can't even trust hand sanitizer anymore. I'm the one who could die here. I'm the person who's going to die of all of us. I'm the one.
Any of us could.
Sure.
Yeah, sure. No. I'm unhealthy. I could die easily.
If we added 2 more friends to this mix, one of us would die. Who do you want to add? Let's add Jay and Kevin.
All right. Either of those is fine with me.
Yeah.
Jay, our friend Jay and Kevin, who both happen to live in Saskatoon, Saskatchewan now, now they are in this group, and technically one of us is going to die. Well, one of us who gets the disease. If we all got the disease, one of us would die. Who's that going to be?
It'll probably be Jay.
Yeah, Jay. Jay's dad is like 106. He's got really good genes. Let's move it on to Kevin.
I've been playing Scrabble with Jay on Facebook.
Really?
Speaking of evil entities. Yeah. Jay may be the worst Scrabble player I've ever come across. It's like shooting fish in a barrel.
Well, hopefully it's one of those 2 guys and not us, because we're the good ones, really. Those guys are a-holes down to the bone.
Well, they live in Saskatoon.
Yeah, they're Saskatoon a-holes.
What's been different in your life?
Well, John,
you've kind of spent the last few years at home, doing what you do.
Masturbating.
How are things different?
Well, day one, it was a problem, John. It's because Janice set up shop in the next room, and I figure it affected my mojo. I couldn't come in here and yell and scream and do my podcast every couple of days because she was there working, and I just felt, I felt creatively hampered that I didn't want to do that. No one was ever home when I was making podcasts. And that's the thing. When I was a kid, my parents both worked. My mom was a nurse and my dad worked 9 to 5. And my brothers were older than me, so they were home, but I was kind of left alone all the time. So I've kind of gotten used to that. And due to anxiety of my mother being crazy, I enjoyed being alone. So I sort of embraced it over the years. And it's really weird not to be alone. I'm never alone anymore. There's always someone here.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I used to treasure those. Well, I guess I didn't treasure them till they were gone.
Mm-hmm.
But I do miss not having someone around all the time.
Yeah.
When you get married and you have kids, that's part of the package.
Yeah.
But man, as I get older, I treasure it's very rare that I'm home alone.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, oh my God, what am I going to do? And then you sort of freeze because there's so many options, and then you end up having a nap and then it's gone.
Yeah, I have not been alone, and it's weird, but I do find solitude in the yard. By the way, the robins who have nested in our tree have helped themselves to 4 baby robins, fledglings we call them. Do you know fledglings can't fly? They jump out of the nest.
Interestingly, we had a robin's nest in a tree that we have in our garden, and it was super low. It was only like about 4 feet off the ground. And we were worried that the cats were going to get the robins. So we bought this kind of netting, and we put the netting all around the tree so that the cats wouldn't have a clear shot up to the...
Yeah.
And we were pretty clever. And then one morning I went out to the garden, and there was a raven sitting in the tree, and it had eaten all the baby robins.
You have an ironic, sad story for everything.
I really do, don't I?
We put the baby in a crib, but there was a horrible pit bull in there that we didn't see, and it ate the baby. Yeah.
And that's the circle of life.
Yes, it is. Raven came in and cleaned up the house. Okay, well, that is depressing. Have you been watching the news?
Oh yeah. I've been watching the news, and it's. I think it's that old. Oh, that happens over there.
Yeah,
and not here,
Saskatchewan.
So
to Jay and Kevin.
I have a little story. It's not even a good story. It's just that as part of this COVID-19 stuff, I was asked to go out to Mydale and shoot the grad this year, and it was kind of a virtual grad where a lot of the speeches were done separately outside of school. Actually, the school could not participate in it at all, but some of the teachers recorded their own speeches and sent them to me, and I also recorded a processional and a recessional, and then the grad speeches. And I'll be editing a video for them. But yeah,
that's your hometown, and is there a high school there?
Oh yeah.
So this is their grad. Then you've helped them. You're the only guy from Mydale who's ever known how to turn on a video camera, so they knew who to go to.
I think so, yes. There were only 9 in the graduating class this year, but there were only 8 during this part. I'm not sure what happened to the 9th one, but
COVID got him. My son watches English Premier League soccer, and he's always up in the mornings on the weekends to watch it during the winter. And has his favorite team, and I used to watch it with him, but I found out that I missed it, so I was actually really craving for sports to come back, because it would feel like normalcy, and it has. On Wednesday, the Premier League started up, and my son was watching soccer, and we watched it. Actually, I'm not allowed to watch it with him, because he says I'm bad luck, and he's actually says it's scientifically proven, and he gave me this big, long explanation, and I couldn't answer to it, so... I've been telling him since birth there's no such thing as good or bad luck. It's non-scientific, and he figured out a way that I was bad luck, so I wasn't allowed to watch. And this stupid team still lost. Yeah, so
Yeah.
I told him, if I'm bad luck, we're going to be millionaires, because all I have to do is bet against his team and watch it, and that's pretty easy money. We could buy our own island in 5 years. It'd be crazy. Do you guys what do you miss about pop culture or sports? John, what do you miss the most that's gone?
It's a little weird not being in the middle of June and not thinking about the Rough Riders, that's for sure.
At best, I'm a casual Rider fan. Mm-hmm. Where I, if you gave me the option of going to a Rider game with free tickets and the best seats, or staying at home and watching, I would watch at home. So I will miss the Riders not playing, just because it gave me, I like cheering for our team. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm not a big sports fan anymore.
Yes.
But I do movies. Movies are my. I love going to a theater to a movie, and I'm like John. I like choosing matinees if I can, just so that there's hardly anybody in there.
The news was COVID. Every story was COVID. You watch the national news hour-long program, nothing but COVID stories. I found myself really thankful when somebody got mugged in town, and is like, oh,
yeah,
that's cool. I didn't know somebody got mugged. I didn't know muggings happened. I was actually relieved to hear that story. And then, as bad as they are, the riots in the States, it's just like, hey, every summer we have race riots because some goddamn cop shoots a person of color that wasn't armed or anything like that. And then, and it's horrible to say that, but it's like such a dark cloud of the same old thing streaming at you over and over.
Does it really feel normal, though? It feels more optimistic. I feel like there's change coming down the pike, don't you?
I do, but I've also felt that way before and been burned. So I'm optimistic that you kind of take 2 steps forward, 1 step back when it comes to social change. And hopefully this 2 steps forward is maybe 2.5 steps. That's what I'm hoping. That's the best I can hope for. People are racist. They are racist around here. I got to tell you a story. And this has been one of the most disheartening things that's ever happened to me. There's a person who works with me at my clinic, and they've helped me stay alive by giving me an exercise and nutrition program. And it was very effective, and it changed my life. It gave me... about 9 years ago, I started doing that. So I go to the gym there all the time, which I can't do anymore, by the way. And there's a person there who is the nicest person in the world. And if you asked me, James, give me a list of 5 of the nicest people in your life, and I probably put her at number 1. She was a very kind and helping person who would help everyone who came into the place and would brighten their day just by talking to them. That kind of person. She was selfless and always interested in other people. And she was supportive of me. And I see a post, and I clicked on her Facebook page. And the first thing I see is a blatantly racist meme, a disgusting meme that I would have unfriended someone. Were they my Facebook friends, I would have ended the relationship with them. It was just so disheartening that this person was so kind and such a bright spot and a beacon of hope in my life. You have different things in the world. Well, at least that person's there. There might be a shitty day, but at least that person's a decent person. And to think that, I'm Caucasian, so maybe she's treating me differently than she does the black people who go to the gym. And I'm wondering how miserable they are, or if they're treated any different, or she just covers it up. But the fact that people in rural Saskatchewan, and this brings me back to Jack's Facebook page, are so openly racist and so openly full of hatred and distrust. And I don't know. Do you find that, you guys? Do you find that people are racist here? It seems like Facebook is amplifying. It seems like Facebook is an extremist machine.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with that. I've got lots of friends from high school that, just don't seem to get it. I don't think they consider themselves racist.
No,
but
they're the people who would say, "Oh, no,
this,
I'm not racist."
All lives matter, right? And it just drives me crazy. But a good portion of our province is pretty racist.
Jack?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I know these people, and I grew up with most of them, and it's hard for me to see that in them, even though they're presenting it in a forum that's public. It doesn't square with me, the person I know.
Well, I have no tolerance for it. I can't. Yeah. And yet there are people, like even my mother would not say anything racist for years. And then she would say the most racist thing in the world just because something came up. You'd be driving down the street and she would be thinking of something or something like that. And you would see just how racist she was. But she didn't say racist things every day. I know she's not Archie Bunker. But she was thinking it. And every 2 or 3 years, she would say something horrible, which would leave me speechless. I didn't, because it would just hit me from behind. I didn't see it coming, and I didn't even know what to say or process. It was, of course, disheartening. But people around here, they just share it, and everybody, they just expect that it's normal and that they're not going to get fired from their job. And these are public posts, mind you, too. The posts that I saw were public, otherwise I wouldn't be able to see them.
I think it's so ingrained that awareness of it is not always present in the people. Like John said, they probably don't think they're racist.
Yeah, they don't.
It's just a cultural thing that has been generations in the making, where you could feel the least racist person and yet come out with some of the most racist comments. It just seems like this weird juxtaposition of, I'm not racist, but I've just shared a meme that is.
But yeah, John, I hope you're right, and I hope things are different this time, and I hope people don't put up with any shit, because it's discouraging that 40% of Americans are supporting, regardless of what he does, Trump, and just even before he became president, it was like, okay, this guy's a racist, he's a sexist. Why are we supporting him? Why are you doing that? How can you're endorsing that whole thing? If by voting for him, and he's shown himself he'd be even worse than that now. He's going against civil liberties and all kinds of things. I think, we're at a turning point in history, and if the COVID doesn't get me, maybe we'll all sit around and listen. Anyway, I want to thank you guys, John Kennedy, a friend of mine, and Jack Hilwish, another friend of mine. You both were very kind. You're not the type of people who go on shows and talk. But I want to thank you for doing that. Thanks, guys, and we'll talk again soon.
Thanks, James. It was a first for me.
Thanks, James.
Connect with James on social media by searching Sneeze Show.
All right, there you have it. My good friends, John and Jack, old friends, good friends, the people who will carry my coffin if for some reason cremation is outlawed. Thank you guys for doing that. It is very fabulous of you to do that. I cut out a lot of stuff that was just casual confirmation. Was about an hour and 15 minutes, cut down to 20. So thanks, everybody, and I will be back next week with an actual new episode of Sneeze. What will we talk about? We'll talk about the pandemic. Because what else is there to talk about? Well, the pandemic and race, I guess, as we heard from this podcast. Anyway, love you all, guys. Thanks for coming back to my podcast. Hope you enjoyed this one since you've stuck with it this long, and we'll see you soon.